Hi, I'm Cindi McGee, and you're watching Polymer Clay TV. Today's veneer is inspired by this ad for these mod vine floral draperies. I loved the fresh citrus sort of colors and the fun bit of retro design. I'm using Primo Sculpey Accents Translucent Yellow for this project. You can substitute as needed with some translucent tinted with a little bit of yellow clay, or even the glow would probably work. I rolled it to a setting number 5 on the clay machine. I'm looking for little flowers from my different silk screens to use to build the flowers for the vines. Pretty much any silk screen you have, just take a look and try to find those flowers that would be about the right size for what you're trying to achieve. For the first set of flowers, I'm using this Woodland Daisy silk screen from Create Along. Place it orange side down onto the clay sheet and then silk screen. I wanted to use sort of a light aqua color and I needed to blend some paint to do that. I'm using DecoArt's Americana Bluegrass Green and white, and I'm just going to mix a little bit of that bluegrass green into the white and then silkscreen. You do want to wash your silkscreen right away so that it'll be ready for use next time. Once the paint was dry, I used a small circle cutter to cut around several of the flowers that I had screened onto the clay. Here are the little flowers from that sheet of clay. I'm going to set those aside and move on to the next color. The next screen I'm using is called Mexi Skulls Halloween Day of the Dead, and this is also a Create Along silk screen. For these flowers, I'm using the same clay, and I'm using this citron green DecoArt paint to silkscreen. I just want the flowers for this one, so I'm going to kind of here and there add the paint just over the flowers that I want to use. I could screen the whole thing like I did with the first one. It's really up to you. I cut those out with the small circle cutter, and I'm going to set those aside to do the next set. For the last set of flowers, I'm going to be using the Floral Frames Trading Coin silkscreen from Create Along, and I'm just going to be using this flower that's in the center of one of the images. This time I'm using the Hauser Light Green paint to screen. Again, I cut the flowers out with the round cutter before proceeding. For the vines and leaves, I'm mixing some Sculpey Accents silver, this is the metallic silver, with a little bit of, I believe this is ecru. And I'm going to extrude some strands from the extruder with a tiny little hole, multi-hole disc. To build the vines, place strands of the extruded clay onto another sheet of that beginning clay, which is the yellow translucent. And again, I rolled this to a number 5 on the clay machine. I curved the little strands for the vines in random directions and just spaced them out maybe a half an inch or so apart, maybe an inch in some places. It's totally random. Once the long strands are in place, it's time to go back and add some shorter sections here and there, sort of branching off from those base vines. Next, add the flowers. These are just randomly applied to the different vines and branches off the vines all over the surface of the sheet. I used all three colors and a random application. I used the remainder of that blended silver and ecru clay and rolled a sheet on a setting 4 on the clay machine. I'm going to use 2 deco discs from Create Along, this is the pattern place set, to texture it. You do want to use a release agent. You can use cornstarch, mica powder. I like water. You just dip it into the water and then place it on the surface and apply firm, even pressure to transfer the pattern. I used a couple different patterns to do this, and then I used a craft knife to randomly cut leaf shapes in assorted small sizes to fill in around the flowers on the vines. Just add the leaves here and there, extending off from the vines and around the flowers until you have a pattern that you like. I'm using a glass tile. You could use a acrylic roller, or you could use a stamping block, whatever you want, to apply a light amount of pressure to the veneer just to make sure those layers are adhering. You don't want to press hard enough to remove the texturing from the leaves though. The leaves on the fabric have some highlighted areas or cutout areas. To make the pattern on these highlighted, I'm using some DecoArt metallic luster and white frost, and I'm just going to very carefully touch the surface of those leaves to apply enough of that metallic luster to bring out the pattern. And here's the finished veneer. I think it pretty closely mimics that original drapery fabric. I'm going to make either some polymer trading coins with my veneer or maybe some fun jewelry for spring. Need more inspiration? We invite you to join our Polymer Clay Tribe Facebook group. Over 16,000 members sharing inspiring projects every day. For lots more creative polymer clay ideas, visit the Polymer Clay TV blog.